Aja Wilson, the two-time MVP, just exploded, and not because of her moves on the court. She's speaking out, and you won't believe what she's saying about Caitlin Clark. Is there a storm brewing in the WNBA? Let's dive in. First things first, let's talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. Have you seen what she's doing to the WNBA? It's not just impressive, it's game-changing. Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's rewriting the rules of what's possible in women's sports. And you might be thinking, sure, she's good, but is she really that special? Well, let me hit you with some numbers that'll make your head spin. Clark's games are pulling in over 2 million viewers. 2 million. That's not just good, that's breaking records left and right. Now compare that to Aja Wilson, a seasoned pro and two-time MVP. Wilson's games typically draw around 425,000 viewers. That's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not even close to Clark's numbers. Can you see why Wilson might be feeling a little threatened? But here's where it gets really wild. The WNBA just landed a $260 million per year media rights deal. You heard that right? $260 million. And you know who's getting a lot of credit for that? Caitlin Clark. Her star power is bringing in fans, attention, and now serious cash to the league. This influx of money and eyeballs is changing everything. The WNBA is suddenly in the spotlight like never before. Players are getting more recognition, sponsors are lining up, and the future of women's basketball looks brighter than ever. But hold on a second. Is all this attention on Clark a good thing for everyone in the league? That's where things get complicated. On one hand, Clark's success is bringing in new fans by the thousands. People who've never watched a WNBA game before are tuning in just to see what all the fuss is about. And once they start watching, they're getting hooked on the incredible talent and excitement of women's basketball. But on the other hand, all this focus on one player is creating some tension behind the scenes. Veteran players like Wilson, who've been grinding for years to build the league, might feel like their contributions are being overlooked. It's like Clark dropped a bomb in the middle of the WNBA, and now everyone's scrambling to figure out what it means for the future of the league. Will this surge in popularity be sustainable, or is it just a flash in the pan? And what about the other talented players in the league? Will they get the recognition they deserve, or will Clark's star power overshadow everyone else? Now that we've seen the Caitlin Clark effect, let's zoom in on Aja Wilson's reaction. You might think a seasoned pro like Wilson would take this in stride, right? Well, think again. Wilson isn't just upset. She's feeling the pressure like never before. Remember how Wilson's games were pulling in about 425,000 viewers? That number suddenly seems small compared to Clark's 2 million. Can you imagine how that feels for a two-time MVP? It's not just about numbers, it's about recognition and respect. Wilson's been carrying the league on her shoulders for years. She's battled on the court, racked up impressive stats, and helped put the WNBA on the map. But now, with all eyes on Clark, Wilson's starting to feel like her hard work is being overlooked. You know that feeling when you've been working your butt off and suddenly someone new comes in and gets all the credit? That's exactly what Wilson's dealing with right now. It's not just frustrating, it's exhausting. In fact, Wilson's gone on record saying she's feeling mentally tired from all the comparisons to Clark. Can you blame her? Imagine having every move you make compared to the new star player. It's enough to wear anyone down. But here's where it gets really interesting. Wilson isn't just sitting back and taking it. She's coming out swinging, figuratively, of course. In her own words, "I know you think I'm a lady and that I cannot fight and get down and gritty in the post, but I can. It's my job and it's what I love to do." Did you catch that? Wilson's not just defending her play style. She's making a statement. She's reminding everyone that she's not some delicate flower. She's a fierce competitor who's earned her place in the league. This isn't just about Wilson versus Clark. It's about the old guard versus the new blood. It's about veterans feeling pushed aside for the next big thing, and it's a fear that's spreading through the league like wildfire. Think about it. If you're a player who's been in the WNBA for years, putting in the work day after day, how would you feel seeing all this attention on a rookie? You'd probably start wondering if your time in the spotlight is coming to an end. It's not just about jealousy or hurt feelings, it's about job security. It's about legacy. These players have dedicated their lives to building this league, and now they're worried they might be forgotten. Now that we've seen the tension building between Aja Wilson and Caitlin Clark, it's time to address the elephant in the room: race. You might be thinking, wait, what does race have to do with this? Well, it turns out a lot more than you might think. Aja Wilson hasn't been shy about speaking up on this issue. She's pointed out that race plays a big role in how players are perceived and treated in the WNBA. And you know what? She's got a point. Think about it. Who gets the most media attention in women's basketball? Who's plastered all over billboards and commercials? More often than not, it's the white players who become the face of the sport. Sound familiar? This isn't just about hurt feelings or jealousy. It's about representation and opportunity. When certain players get more attention, more fans, and ultimately more power in shaping the future of the sport. Now, you might be wondering, but is this really a big deal? Isn't talent what matters most? Of course, talent is crucial, but in the world of professional sports, talent alone isn't always enough to make you a superstar. Let's look at the numbers. Caitlin Clark's games are pulling in over 2 million viewers. That's incredible, but it also raises some questions. Are these new fans tuning in because of Clark's undeniable skill, or is there something else at play? This is where things get complicated. It's not just about individual players, it's about the narratives we create around sports and athletes. Who do we choose to celebrate? Whose story do we tell? And most importantly, why? These aren't easy questions to answer. They touch on deep-rooted issues in our society that go way beyond basketball, but they're questions we need to ask if we want to understand what's really happening in the WNBA right now. Now, it's important to note that this isn't about pitting players against each other. Both Wilson and Clark are phenomenal athletes who deserve recognition. The issue is bigger than any individual player. It's about the systems and structures that decide which athletes become household names and which ones don't. It's about the unconscious biases that shape our perceptions of who can be a sports hero. You might be thinking, but isn't the increased attention good for the league as a whole? And you'd be right. The WNBA is getting more viewers, more sponsorships, and more media coverage than ever before. That's definitely a positive. But here's the catch. If this growth comes at the cost of sidelining or undervaluing players of color, is it really progress? Or are we just reinforcing the same old problems in a shiny new package? This situation with Wilson and Clark is bringing these issues to the surface in a way we've never seen before. It's forcing us to confront some uncomfortable truths about race, representation, and recognition in women's sports. And you know what? That might not be such a bad thing. Sometimes you need a little tension to spark real change. This could be the catalyst that pushes the WNBA to address these issues head-on. But let's be clear, this isn't just a WNBA problem. It's a reflection of broader issues in our society. The way we talk about and promote athletes of different races impacts far more than just basketball. So what does all this mean for the future of the WNBA? We're at a crossroads, and the path forward isn't clear. The league's facing a challenge it's never seen before: how to celebrate new stars like Caitlin Clark while still honoring veterans like Aja Wilson. Think about it. The WNBA's got a golden opportunity here. Clark's bringing in millions of new viewers. That's a whole new audience that could fall in love with the sport. But at the same time, they can't afford to alienate the players who've been the backbone of the league for years. You might be thinking, can't they just focus on both? Well, it's not that simple. There's only so much spotlight to go around, and when you've got a rising star who's pulling in 5 times the viewers of established players, it's hard to keep things balanced. But here's where it gets interesting. What if this clash between old and new isn't just a problem? What if it's actually the key to taking the WNBA to the next level? Imagine the storylines: the seasoned vet versus the young phenom, the established champion fighting to prove she's still on top, the rookie sensation trying to live up to the hype. This is the stuff sports fans live for. And you know what? That kind of healthy competition and rivalry could be exactly what the WNBA needs to drive the sport forward. It creates drama, tension, and excitement. It gives fans something to debate and discuss. It makes people tune in to see what happens next. But for this to work, the league needs to play it smart. They can't just ride the Caitlin Clark wave and hope for the best. They need a plan to showcase all their talent, to tell all their stories. So how do they do it? Well, first off, they need to start by acknowledging the elephant in the room. The tensions are real, and pretending they don't exist won't help anyone. The league needs to create spaces for open, honest conversations about these issues. Next, they need to find ways to spotlight different players and different stories. Maybe that means creating more league-wide events that put everyone on equal footing, or developing media campaigns that highlight the diverse talents and backgrounds of all their players. And here's a crazy idea. What if they lean into the rivalry? Not in a negative way, but by creating opportunities for these stars to face off, to compete, to push each other to be better. Imagine special exhibition games or skills challenges that pit the veterans against the newcomers. But it's not just about the players. The league needs to think bigger. They need to use this moment to reshape how people see women's basketball. This isn't just about individual stars. It's about showcasing the incredible level of talent across the board. And you know what? This could be the moment that changes everything. The WNBA's got more eyes on it than ever before. They've got a $260 million media deal. They've got buzz and excitement. If they play their cards right, this could be the beginning of a whole new era for women's basketball. But it won't be easy. They're going to have to navigate some tricky waters. They'll need to balance tradition with innovation, respect for the past with excitement for the future. They'll need to find ways to make all their players feel valued while still capitalizing on the star power of their biggest names. It's a tall order, but the potential payoff is huge. We could be looking at a future where the WNBA isn't just surviving, but thriving, where it's not just a niche sport, but a major player in the world of professional athletics. And it all starts with how they handle this moment. So let's keep watching, keep supporting, and keep pushing for a brighter future for women's basketball. That's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's make Caitlin Clark and the WNBA bigger than the NBA. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.